mind, please muting your microphones just to prevent any weird noises or anything that may happen. I also have to do a little bit of housekeeping on my end. We have a thunderstorm rolling in right now. Generally, we're pretty stable, but if I go dark, that's why, because the thunderstorm knocked us out. Okay, so I've been watching your posts and watching your questions, and the first thing I have to tell you is Canvas is not something you can learn overnight. I just finished last week teaching a 6-week college course on how to teach with Canvas. So it is a beast. We are going to start with the pure basics, the simple stuff that you need to get you going on day one in your classroom. And then when you've got that under your belt, there is a ton more that we can do and that you can add on, but we're going to start with the basics. I am going to try to start showing you some examples. I've seen a lot of people posting questions about they don't know whether to set up their modules on a weekly format or a daily format, or if they should set it up by subject. So I'm going to show you some examples and talk about the pros and cons. So that you can kind of wrap your head around what you might want to begin doing. And then we'll go into the basics of how do you build a module, how do you build a page, how do you build an assignment. And I'm going to try to leave the last 10 minutes or so for questions. I will tell you, because the amount of people that we have in here, and we are pushing 100 right now, I may not get to them all, but if you put them in the chat, I will answer them after the session and post them in our Facebook group so that I can get to as many as possible. So I hope that that is sufficient to help people meet their needs. A little bit about me, as you can probably tell, I am not a millennial or anything like that. I actually am in my 34th year of education. My bachelor's degree is in elementary education and special ed, and I taught for 14 years. And then I got my master's degree in instructional technology, and that's what I have been doing for the last 20 years. So I am not the typical age range that does a lot with computers, but I've actually been working with them since my undergraduate degree, and it's just something I really enjoy. So just thought I'd throw that out there for you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you can see my Canvas. At least I hope I am. And so I'm hoping you all see Canvas. If you're just seeing the Zoom launch meeting, could somebody open their mic and tell me that? Oh, Tanya says yes, she sees Canvas. Yay. Okay. So what I did is I pulled together some samples from some of my teachers who just completed my class, and some of the teachers who I work with on a daily basis as part of my job. None of these are perfect. I honestly don't know if there is such an animal as perfect in Canvas, but all of these have good things to show. So I thought I would start there. The first one we're going to look at is second grade, a second grade model. And this is actually her homepage. In my district, we are Microsoft, so I should probably state that. I can only answer basic questions about Google. I haven't worked with it professionally in 7 years, and I don't want to pretend to be an expert because I'm just not anymore. But we are Microsoft, so this was built in directly. She did not use Microsoft. She just built this directly in Canvas. She did use a table for buttons. A button can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be. It can be a picture that is linked to somewhere, and that can be a button. In this particular case, she set this up as a table, and she just added color behind her text, which is why we've got all different kinds of sizes. And that is one of the things I would want her to correct if we are working with this in more detail. But this is sufficient. It'll work. My big concern about buttons is that they are not ADA compliant, especially if you put them in a table. The screen readers cannot read tables. So any of your kids who are special needs, who are relying on that, cannot access any information that you are putting inside of a table, including your buttons. So if you're going to use buttons, you need to have a second source for them to get that information beyond your buttons. So I just wanted to go ahead and clarify that. Tables are excellent on web pages, as I think many of you know, for lining things up and making it stay side by side and go vertical, which is why people use them, but they create a complication because of that ADA factor. A home page only has to, and I realize I should say we're national, so we are all under different directives from different people in our states, in our school districts. And so what I say may or may not go in your district because your administrators may be something completely different. So I'm just going to tell you, based on my background and experience, what I believe. A homepage is an introduction to your course. And the reality is it's like wrapping paper on a Christmas present. It looks beautiful under the tree, and in the hands of a kid, it lasts about 2.5 seconds and it's gone. So they're going to get in there, they're going to click on it, they're going to go into your course, and they're done with it. So you can put in as much energy as you want on it. And I know a lot of people are having a lot of fun with the Bitmojis right now, and they look great and they make us personally feel better and like we're a little bit more in control of our world. And if that's you, by all means, do that. But if that is not you, do not worry about it. You are okay. You can keep your homepage as basic and simple as you want to. So this one, she's got a banner up here that says welcome to second grade. She did have her name under it, but because I'm borrowing it from her, I removed that to help her keep her anonymity. She has a little saying for her class, and she's got 6 buttons and then her contact information. On a home page, what you need to have is your contact information, your phone, your email, when's the best time to reach you, how can the student or parent get technical assistance if something isn't working right. That needs to either be on your home page or a link to that information needs to be on your home page. That's critical. Schedules, always a good idea, so that parents are aware of what to expect. We're moving into a world that scheduling is going to be really interesting. In my district, we're going live in 2 weeks. Some districts are going completely remote in 2 weeks, and there's a whole lot of districts out there going hybrid. And my district has told us we're going live, but be prepared for hybrid and for remote. So we are just in an odd world right now. Scheduling helps, especially if you're live, so that if the parent has to come pick up the child for a doctor's appointment or whatever, they know what subject they're missing, where to find them, all of that. So definitely handy to have. An introduction to yourself, definitely handy to have. She has modules here, which is fine, but you also have a modules link over here in your course navigation. So you can put it here, but it's not necessarily important to have it there. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. Announcements, which she's got a misspelling, that's another thing I would correct. You can put them here. You can leave them visible in your course navigation, or you can link them so that they show up at the top of your home page regardless of anything else. Totally up to you how you want to do that. So that's just a sample home page. Now, in this case, this home page is just a home page. She does not have it contained in a module. So I have to click on modules because I can't go anyplace else. Generally, if I'm going to use a home page, I want it to be the first page in my first module so that I will get a next button down here at the bottom and I can move right on into the course. That's my general preference. Okay, so I'm going to come back over here to modules. Okay, so the first one I'm going to show you here is this first module, and I've retitled it, but a first grade teacher created this. This is her first module, and she's going to leave it published all year long. And it basically has all of her expectations for the year in it. So she has information on how she's going to grade, information about late work, information about makeup work, what her course expectations are, and how to communicate with her. You can add as much or take away as much for her as you need to. But I think this is important, maybe not so much in the primary grades, but definitely in the intermediate grades, because parents are going to have those questions, and especially in this weird environment we're moving into, they're going to have these questions, and you may not get the face-to-face to be able to tell them. So this is a really good place to put that information. And I'll just show you real quick a couple of her pages. So because this is first grade, this teacher created a video for each page using the recording tool in Canvas. And I know that because of the control bar here down at the bottom. So you can see her right there, and then we've got a play button. It's a 1 minute and 11-second video. So and she did it because it's first grade, so the kids won't necessarily have the ability to read it on day one at the beginning of the school year. So basically, she tells them you can use the immersive reader button, which is up here in the upper right-hand corner, to read it to them. And this is what the expectations are. And she kept her language simple because, again, it's first grade, but she also reads it to them. So they have 3 ways of accessing that information on each of these first pages. And then notice I have a next button because I'm inside of a module. So I'm going to click on that. And same thing, here's her late work. So again, we have the video. Again, we have the simple language. Again, she tells them click the immersive reader button. Ideally, if you're going back face-to-face or in some kind of a hybrid program, even if that's what you're doing, you still want to have Canvas up and running, and you want to use it as centers, use it as something so that when your students are in class, you can get them into Canvas, show them how to navigate. So if you ever do have to go remote, or they get quarantined or whatever, they already have that built-in ability because you practiced with it in class. That doesn't mean you have to do everything in your face-to-face class in Canvas. You can set it up as a center. You can just do 1 or 2 activities in the first couple of weeks, but get them in and get them comfortable. That was a lot of the problem we had last spring, is no one had used it at all, and we were having to do everything remotely. So if you can get your hands on your kids live, then you want to make sure you practice this skill in anticipation of what may happen later on in the year. If you start remote, then you're going to have to do everything either through video, very, very explicit instructions. Don't just say turn in the assignment. They don't know how to do that. So you're going to need to create a video and walk them through step by step. In my district, the technology specialist did that. We created that video, and I think it's plastered on about 8 million Canvas pages now. Some teachers just automatically put it in their instructions for every single assignment so the kids can refer to it. It's just one of those things that comes in really handy. Make a good video, hang on to it, and use it over and over and over as much as you need to. Okay, so back to modules. And you can make the video, by the way, in any tool you desire. I'm actually not a huge fan of the recording tool in Canvas. It's kind of glitchy. So if, in my district, we frequently referred them to PowerPoint. They can also record through Teams, and we have a couple of other options they can record through. You can record through anything. Just save it down as an MP4. Once you complete your video, that's the format that you want, and then you can upload that into Canvas. Okay, so the next setup I'm going to show you is second grade. And again, this was a teacher, so in my class. So she started it with a sample page, just, hi, welcome to class. Okay, and because she's anticipating this being the very first thing they see in her class. Plenty fine to do. I have some teachers who do this basically at the beginning of every week, just to kind of tell a joke, get the kids back in school mode at the beginning of each week. Just some kind of an interesting, guess what happened to me this weekend story, whatever you want to do, just to help them feel a little bit connected. And then I'm going to click next. And she goes in right away into thinking strategies. So she has embedded a PDF. And the word embed means that the kids do not have to click anywhere. They can see it straight on the page. I'll try to put up some helpful tips tomorrow on how to do that, because we probably don't have enough time to go through it tonight. But you can embed virtually anything. PDFs work really well. Google Slides or PowerPoint slides can be embedded. Videos of all different kinds, YouTube and everything else can be embedded in here. So, so she's just embedded this PDF with some bookmarks that they can print out if they want to, for the kids to use. Anytime you embed, you always get a link as well. They just come together. So then she started with a Zoom meeting. So here is her information about her Zoom meeting. She put it in as an assignment so that the students will be able to see it. I will tell you, in my district, we are instructed not to ever hold mandatory Zoom meetings at all with our students, not ever. Because we are in, even though I'm in the largest city in Wyoming, we are still a very rural state. 3 of the schools that I support are 40 miles out of town in the middle of a ranch. Their internet connection is very spotty, if they have any at all. And a lot of our kids do not have internet access at all, or they don't have a device, or they share a device with their siblings and their parents. We're working on fixing that so that we can go one-to-one. But until we are at that point, we cannot require, you create inequity in education if you have kids who cannot technically access what you're requiring. So we are told not to ever require them. Okay, and then she has just an assignment called The New Puppy. Again, this is 2nd grade. She wants to get a feeling for how they are reading, especially because part of their 1st grade year was interrupted with COVID. So she's giving them a very simple passage. She wants them to read the passage and complete the quiz. And during the first couple weeks of school, a lot of my teachers are doing this. Basically, it's hidden, it's assessment, just not being put out that way as assessment, but they are looking to see where these kids at, where's my starting point. So in math and in reading and in writing, give me sample work, maybe easier than they would normally start with, just trying to assess and figure out where the kids are at. Okay, and then here's another read aloud. So she has listed her standard up here, which again is required by our district. And then she's got a video here. We use Safari Montage in my district, so she's embedded it, a video of Alice and Jenny reading this book, and she got it from Safari Montage. I believe this same book is also available on YouTube if you're interested. And then they have to answer the questions in a discussion format. So she's, that's how she's setting up her modules. So now that you've had, and I know I'm going fast, I so apologize for that, but we are limited time. So I want to show you she did a weekly setup for 2nd grade. So she started with resources and the thinking strategy she wants the kids to use for the week. Then she has Monday, and she does it this way continuously. First, she has a header, a text header that she put reading in. Then she put her reading work for Monday. Then she has a text header for writing and a text header for math. She had not, at the time she turned this in, she hadn't put in the work for writing, but she had put it in for math. So you can see there's her math work. And then she has science and her science work. So, and then along comes Tuesday, and again, reading, writing, and she didn't have math in yet. But that was her intention. So my teachers that used this last year, they generally would start the day with some kind of an introduction to the day's work. It could just be a welcome to Monday. This is what we're going to accomplish today. Here's a list. And then at the end of the day, they would put, at the end of the work, they would put, great job. Now you can go outside and play, or just something to let them know they were done for the day. So in this particular case, this teacher did not do that yet, but several of my teachers did. So she goes through the whole week. Here's Thursday, and it's always in the same order. We are required to teach salsa in our lower grades, so they only teach salsa once a week. So that's why you see that on Thursday. Okay, and then she has some extras that are not published. For the beginners out there, publishing is key. If you haven't figured that out yet, The green check mark means the kids can see it. If there's no green check mark, the kids cannot see it. So if I wanted the kids to see it, I would just click on the little circle with a line through it, and now the kids can see it. You have to publish in 3 places. You have to publish the actual work. You have to publish the module itself. So on these gray banners, that's the module header. It has to be published. And you have to publish the course. If the kids,
I can't hear you.
Oh my goodness. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I think everyone else is hearing me, as far as I know.
I can hear you fine.
Okay, thank you. And we are recording. So, and the other thing would be to check your own speakers, because I know I've done that more than once this summer. Okay, make sure it's published in those 3 places. If the kids can't see it, 99 times out of 100 is just because you forgot to publish it. The other thing that's good about not publishing is you can put notes to yourself. So if there's something you want to remember, like make sure my Flipgrid account is activated, or double check that Joey got this assignment, whatever, you can just put in a page in here with notes to yourself and just don't publish them. The kids won't be able to see them. Okay, so that's 2nd grade. And again, I want to maximize time here, so I'm going to show you 5th grade real quick. Same concept. He has a text header that says Monday. He has a 2nd text header that has a standard that he's working on. And then he has the beginning of the day work. And this one is not completely, this is from last spring, and it's not complete, but you can see there's reading here. And then the same thing on Tuesday. When he had these fully done, it did have every subject. And here's an example of end of day. The other thing last spring, we were under, and he didn't put his page in, we were under restrictions by our district to do no more than 2 hours of coursework a day last spring. So some of the ones from last spring are pretty short. Okay. I also saw on Facebook, what do I do the first week of school? So just some ideas. One of my teachers has built this out. And again, it's for 1st grade, but she's doing an entire unit that she made into just a single module on friendship and all about me activities. So getting the kids to introduce themselves to each other. They're doing some recordings in Flipgrid so they can say hello to each other. She's reading a book. She's doing a reading interest inventory, but just things you would normally do on the first couple days of school. She's built into an entire module. And she's got a video on friendship. Friendship Online is actually talking about netiquette and the do's and don'ts of operating in a class. In other words, no bullying, using appropriate language, all of that. She's covering that under this friendship video and Friendship Online. We are an Olveus district, and so this is actually Olveus standard she's covering right away. And then down below that, she had built a unit on herself to introduce herself to her students. So My Teacher's Secret Life, she gives them a letter of introduction. They have to read it, and then they actually have to answer questions and take a quiz on her letter. So that's what she chose to do. And again, there's all kinds of options out there. We are behind the gun pretty much nationally, from what I understand, in that we think our kids are behind where we would like them to be. So how much time you want to spend doing that? This is a 1st grade room, so they maybe have more time to do things like that than we do in the upper grades, but that's one option. Okay, so I want to show you all how to start a basic module and talk a minute about settings. So down here in my course navigation, if you see all the eyeballs mean that the students cannot see them. See those things. So they can't see announcements right now. They can't see assignments. They can't see people. Okay, that's for one of two reasons. Either no one is in, I as a teacher have not put any content in that area, and that is why it's not visible, or it's because I have deliberately hidden it. That's one of those two reasons. In this case, we've got it narrowed down to 7 right here. You have no choice on home. Home is always going to be there. Send on remind in our district is only visible to teachers. So even though it looks like it's visible to the kids, it's not. And then in this particular class, we have done what's called a redirect app, which you can find under settings apps. And redirect allows you to put a link to wherever you want it to go. So our teachers frequently use MobyMax as a resource. So we've used the redirect tool to create a link to MobyMax. So if the teacher wants to say, go to MobyMax and do this, all the kids have to do is come over onto the navigation and click on MobyMax. We also use ClassLink, which is a piece of, it's a program that all it does is save passwords. And so for our kids, almost any place they need to go in our district, any app we're using, they can get to it through ClassLink. So we put a redirect there. I've seen redirects to textbooks. I've seen redirects to Khan Academy. I've seen them go everywhere, district websites. I've seen them go everywhere. So you can use the redirect tool as many times as you want to go to any place that you frequently send your kids. Okay, so this is your course navigation as opposed to your global navigation. Your blue global navigation is everything for Canvas. So if you're in 5 courses and you need to switch courses, then you're going to come over here and click on this little dashboard to change courses. If your kids have sent you an email, you're going to come here to your inbox and go get that inbox message. If you are having help, if you're having trouble, the question mark, depending on your account with Canvas, they have a ton of help for how to use Canvas. And I can't say that all of these are set up identical. In ours, the Canvas guides is up here at the top with the panda. You go to the Canvas guides, put in your search terms. So if you go there and you say redirect, it will give you directions on how to put the redirect tool, how to use the redirect tool. If you go there and say, I don't know how to create a button, it will give you information on how to create a button. They also have a Canvas support hotline and a chat with Canvas support. That is only for teachers, so students and parents cannot use that. And it also depends on your account with them. So if your district didn't purchase that level of support through Canvas, you may not have that. But they are very responsive. They're available 24/7. They're located in Utah, for those of you who are curious. And so if you do have that level of support, it's very helpful. Okay, so that's what is in the global. And down here at the bottom, I'm going to click on settings. And in settings, it's coming, just my computer is in shock right now. Okay, you have 5 tabs across the top in settings, and this is about your basic course, getting it set up to start. I would really, really recommend you put in an image. You can click on the 3 dots and you can either pull a picture off your computer, or you can go to Unsplash and get a copyright-free image. The reason I would recommend you do that is because it's much easier to tell your students, click on the picture of the teddy bear to get to your course, than it is to tell them, well, click on the picture that says blah, 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 especially if they're non-readers. Telling them to click on the picture is much easier. So put a picture in, and then the rest of this, depending on how you're set up, if you created it yourself, you're going to have to fill this out. If your district is pushing the course to you, then you don't need to fill this out. Okay, down here at the bottom, it says more options. When you click on more options, the second one down is about announcements. So if I check that box, it'll say show my recent announcements on my course homepage. And I can pick a number between 1 and 15. I would recommend you keep it a low number because if we're remote, the kids could be on a phone, they could be on a tablet, and they just don't have that much screen real estate available. So you don't want to take up a whole lot of room with your announcements and never get to what you really want them to get to. So I generally recommend about 3, but it depends on how often you use announcements too. Below that, these 4 will be checked automatically. Read them carefully and see if that is something you want to do or not. They have implications in terms of student discipline and classroom management. So depending on your class and your grade level, you want to look at them carefully and decide, do I want to allow that or not? And you can change your mind at any point and decide, yes, this time I do want to allow it, but not normally. You can do that at any point, but really look at those carefully. And then make sure you update your course details. In Canvas, you always have to update or save. It is not like Google and Microsoft where it will auto save for you. So make sure you do that. The 3rd tab over is navigation. At the top is what you want the kids to be able to see. At the bottom is what you do not want them to see. And again, you can change your mind at any point. If you don't want them to see it, grab it and drag it down, or click on the 3 dots and say disable. Either one, they do the same thing. Okay? If you're using modules, you do not need assignments, discussions, quizzes, or pages, because all of those are accessible through modules. So you don't need to leave them visible separately for the kids. And in fact, doing so leads to confusion. So I would really recommend you hide those. Also for chat, because it's available 24/7 and kids can automatically start their own thread, I generally only leave that visible if I can monitor more as a safety thing to prevent bullying or anything like that. And then again, come down to the bottom and save. Okay, under apps, that redirect tool that I was telling you about, you would click on apps, type in redirect. And you can see it's already installed, but I can install it again. So I'm going to click on it, say add app. I can rename it to whatever I would like it to be. Okay, we'll just say Zoom. And then you would put in the URL. And I want to show it in the course navigation and add it. And it's that simple. So if I add this app over here in just a second, it may take it a minute, I should see Zoom pop up over here on my course navigation. That's all it takes. Oh, it won't because I didn't put in the web address. Duh. Okay. Okay. I'm really pushing time here. So if it cuts off, that's Zoom, and I'm so sorry. Modules. To add a module, you click on the plus module. Think of a module as being a chapter in a book or a Tupperware container. And that container, you are going to put everything you want the kids to have for that day or that week or that unit inside that Tupperware container. So the module is just the container. You create that container, and then once you've got it created, you start adding what you want them to have. So click on the plus side. You have a drop-down box here, so you can pick any of these things to add. Okay, so if I click new page, I can either pick an existing page and repeat it, or I can say new page, give it a title.
Miss Diane?
Yes.
Hey, this is Tanya Avery. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I saw something come across the screen a while ago that said that Zoom upgraded your Zoom session and has now granted you full unlimited access.
Yay. That's only because this is a brand new account to Zoom. So awesome.
Yeah.
I won't worry about going so fast then. Thank you.
This is a lot of good information, and I know it's, yes, I hope that'll help.
And I know you all feel like you're drinking from the fire hose, and I'm probably not helping that any, but that is why we're recording, so you can go back and replay and slow it down and repeat it as much as you need to. Okay, so when I come in and I say add a page, I have to give it a title. So if it's an assignment, whatever it is, I have to give it a title and then add it. And notice here's my module and here's the page I just created. It is not published yet because there's really nothing there. It's like having a blank piece of notebook paper. I put it in my module. So now I'm going to click on the page. And I need to select edit. Now, the other thing Canvas did this summer is they changed the content editor. So I believe it was across all accounts, but if yours looks different, I have the upgraded rich content editor, you may not. So there may be some differences between this. Notice this text box and how small it is. You can come down to the lower right corner and just get your double handle, or find those, find those 8 dots and just click and drag down and make yourself a bigger box. So that's helpful. Each of these up here on my editor have drop-down menus. So you can select from those. I have bold, italics, underline. I have color swatches I can pick from. And I have a palette if I want to create a custom color. Don't forget, or maybe you don't know, the web is limited to 256 colors. So you may pick a perfectly lovely shade of lilac and they're going to convert it to purple because it doesn't match up with one of the 256 colors. So don't get too far out there, but you can pick colors. This is for background, and then this is for text. Same thing for text colors. The other thing is make sure you've got good contrast. You don't want to have orange writing on a red background. Number one, that's but it's also very hard to read. So you want to make sure you've got a light on a dark or dark on a light, one of those two, to make sure it's readable. Then you have your center, left, right. You can add dots, bullets if you want to. You can indent, you can do paragraphing. And then this little guy here is for links. So if I'm on my home page and I put in that really nice button and I want to link it somewhere, I am going to click on this link button, course links, and it brings up this menu on the right. So if you want to link to a specific page, then click on the down arrow, and that page needs to already exist. You'll locate that page, click on it, and that will create the link. So notice I just made a link to the Ouch Moment assignment, and it was just that simple. So again, I always think it looks like a bicycle chain. Click on that little link, course link, use the menu to find what you want, and then create your link from there. Now I will tell you, if you link to module 1, it's just going to, in the past, it only would take you to the list of modules. So you can try it, but it may only take you to the list of modules. So probably better is to go to the first page of your module that you want them to land on, if you're going to create that kind of link. Yes.
Excuse me, I sent you a question privately, Kathleen Collins.
Okay.
Could you look at it for me, please?
I have to move to a different part of Zoom to get to it, but I promise I will do that before the end. Okay.
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 Oh, I was just asking, should I hit the record button on the bottom of my screen, or is it automatically recording, or what?
I'm recording on my end, and then I will post that in our Canvas group on Facebook.
Okay. Oh.
Okay.
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 All right.
Okay. So that's then if an external link would be if you wanted to link to someplace else. So maybe you want to send them out to YouTube, and it's a specific video on YouTube. So you might put the name of the video, and then you would in a separate tab, go to YouTube, find that video, copy that link, and come back and paste it here. Oops, sorry.
Miss Diane.
Yeah.
This is Tanya Avery. I have a quick question before you, because I know you're busy, and I know there's
Okay.
Tony has lots of questions. However, while you're linking here, because I know probably a few of us have the same question, so you can go ahead and answer it now.
Okay.
I have a Bitmoji page that's made, and I have the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at the bottom. Now I'm confused on how do because if I set them up by Monday, am I going to make one module for my reading, my science, my math, my social studies under that one day? Or should I how do I link that particular Monday to 3 or 4 different modules, because our school is setting those modules up for us? I mean, they're putting the courses in. So I'll have one for guidebooks, one for Zern, one for science, PhD science, one for social studies. So do you see what I'm saying? So I don't know how to go in, and I'm confused.
So by definition, a link only goes to one place ever. And it doesn't matter whether it's Canvas or a website or wherever, it goes to one place. So if you have 4 different courses or 4 different modules, and one's for math, one's for science, one's for social studies, one's for reading, and you're going to do something in each of those 4 modules on Monday, you cannot do that. You cannot create that button so it'll go to all 4 places. What you could do is create a Monday page and put all the links for Monday on that page, and then link your button to that Monday page. To me, that's a little extra effort that you don't really need to go to. But if that's the design you really want to do, that would work.
Okay, that helps
Okay.
a little bit. I teach 4th grade, so I think they can maneuver a little bit better than probably 1st and 2nd grade. But then again, I don't want to send them to the modules and they get so confused with all, you know what I mean? So.
And we need to realize too, this is almost as new to the kids. I've worked with junior high kids who their teacher had to unpublish each module when they finished it, because even though he would say go to module 3, they would still go to module 1. Or, go to chapter 3, and they would still go to chapter 1. No matter what he did, he could not get them over that. So he just stopped. He unpublished it as he finished it, so that the one they were working on was at the top all the time. I just had a friend of mine tell me on my regular Facebook, her graduate school daughter, who is studying to be a teacher, has been in a class all semester and never realized the content for her class was in modules. She only thought she was getting assignments and group projects, and almost failed the class because she never got the actual content for the class. So it doesn't matter how old the kid is. You need to be explicit in your directions, keep your navigation simple, and make sure you tell them where to go, because they're not going to figure it out. Okay, just word to the wise. Okay, so back up here for my insert link. I put in my link, I click done, and there's the link. So you can do that as often as you want. Now notice when I clicked on ouch moment, I get a button down here that says link options. If I want that to, I can do a few things. So I can click on that, and over here it gives me some things I can change if I need to. Okay, sometimes that includes embedding. It does depend on what the document is. Okay, so next to my link is pictures. So it can be an image inside the course already, an image on my computer, or an image I want to upload. Most of you, if you're like us, have limited storage space in Canvas, so you should, as much as possible, be sharing from your Google Drive or your OneDrive, and just bring in shared links in that way. But there are some things that you have to upload into Canvas in order to get them to show, and image is usually one of them. Next to that, recording media. So if you want to upload a short video of yourself, it's right here. Or you can add course media that already exists, or something else that you have on your computer. And then the last one is documents. Again, documents already in your course, a document you want to upload, or a document that exists elsewhere in your Canvas account. Okay, so that's a real brief tour. All of these guys do important things. Notice down here, here's my HTML editor. There are some things if you want to be really stable and stay, you need to do an HTML editing. Again, for beginners, I would never recommend that because that takes a little bit of work. It does give you a word count for your page. This is your ADA accessibility checker, this little guy. So especially if you have special needs kids in your class, learning disabled, whatever it is, and you want to make sure that they can actually use your page, click on this guy and it will tell you if it's accessible or not. Okay, or what you need to fix. So that he's a pretty important. And then next to that, this little guy, I don't remember what he is. Oh, it's just a list of keyboard shortcuts you can use if you're a keyboard kind of person. So I'm going to back up to chat so I can try and grab some of these questions. Let's see. So I'm going to stop share. Okay, so how do we know if we have limited storage? Great question. That's probably going to have to come from your technology department in your district. We started out with 700 megabyte per teacher. Come to find out, we were able to increase that, and it may be something you'll need to request. But yeah, that's all dependent on your specific contract with Canvas, so it's not something I can give you a blanket answer to. So combo classes for 2nd and 3rd grade. So if you have completely separate curriculum, I would do 2 courses if you can. If your district's pushing them, that may not be possible. But if you can, do completely separate courses. You can copy certain documents between courses. So if you have documents that both need to see, you can copy. If you cannot separate them, you can create groups. You click on the people icon and create groups. And so you can have your 2nd graders in one group and your 3rd graders in another group. And then when you do assignments, it defaults to everyone. Delete that and change it to the group you want to assign it to, so that only those kids will see that assignment. So I don't know if that's a great help. If you have to keep them combined, yes, I would use separate modules for the grade levels and just make sure you label them that way. Okay. If you want them to read an article or a passage as a PDF, can you embed it? Yes, you can, absolutely. So once you use that document and then you upload your PDF in, you'll click on that options dialog box that'll be over the link, and you can say embed, and it will put it inside your Canvas page. Generally, you have to save first before you're going to actually see it. So you kind of have to trust you did it, save it, and then you should see it. Also, under settings to the right, it says student view. So if you ever have a question about, can the kids actually see this? Did I do it right? You can go to settings, student view, and actually see what it will look like to them. Okay, it's about 98% accurate, but at least it gives you a lot better comfort level that, yeah, they can actually see it. The other thing I'll tell you, browsers are their own animal. And Canvas works well in Firefox, it works well in New Edge, and it's supposed to work in Chrome. And I've used all 3 of those, and I've seen errors in all 3 of them. And some things just flat out don't work, and they'll work great in one and not the other. And then the next thing will work great in the second one, but not the first one. And it can be a bit frustrating. Also, they'll come through and they'll do a browser update, and what you thought was a great button with a great image, and it still looks good on your page, and it's a completely broken link to your kids. So all I can tell you is try to get your kids stabilized on one browser that they're using if you can. Sometimes that's difficult if they're at home, but if you tell them we're using Chrome, and then that helps narrow down the issues you're going to have, as opposed to trying to fight all of those browser issues. And I can't speak to Safari because I have not tested Canvas in Safari. I don't know if it works well or not there. Okay, is Cami, I don't know what Cami is. So I can't answer that question. I apologize. I'm thinking that's probably a district add-in that they put, and I honestly can't answer that question, Tanya. Okay. Oh, the third generation Wyoming native. Woohoo! I'm only second generation, so you're ahead of me. Awesome. How do you make an assignment so it has to be completed before the next one opens? Great question. I'm going to jump back over real quick and share my screen. Okay. So within modules, first of all, you do have to have modules. You have to be using modules if you want to do, it's called adaptive release. You have to be using modules. So here's my module title, and it usually works best starting with your second module because it has to have some place to go. You click on the 3 dots at the end of the module header and select edit. And then here you have prerequisites. So I could say, well, you have to finish module 1 before you can go to module 2. So I can set that as a prerequisite. Okay. If it's not a module they need to complete, then I can X that out, get rid of that. If it's within this module, I can say they have to complete all these requirements. I can decide, does it have to be in sequential order or not? Honestly, if you're doing a weekly setup and you've got math, reading, social studies, and science all in one module, I probably would not say they have to do it sequentially, because the kids and their parents both probably won't like that. But you could say they have to complete everything. And then you just start saying, what do they have to complete? They have to look at the thinking strategies. They have to do the Zoom assignment. I'm going to add a requirement. They have to do the Chick-fil-A assignment. And that one I want them to turn in. So under view, instead of view the item, I'm going to click the down arrow and say they have to submit the assignment. Okay. You can also say mark as done. So if it's something you want them to read, but they don't have to turn anything in, then you can select it, mark as done, so that they deliberately have to go to the upper right corner of that page and click on the circle saying it's done. Now, it may not be done, but but at least it's a deliberate acknowledgement on their end. Yeah,
Hi there. When you were talking about the submit the assignment, when you put that down for submit the assignment, where does it go? And do we get a notification that it was completed?
Okay, so I will show you that in just a minute, because I think this is God's gift to teachers. Okay. So hang on just a second. So anyway, you can keep going through adding as many requirements as you want, and then you just update your module. And what happens on the student end is where you are seeing these little green check marks, they get little circles, and it works like a checkbox, so they can check it off as it's complete, or if they do complete it, Canvas checks it off for them. So if they're coming in and out of the module, they can see where they left off based on the circles that are filled in on the right side. Okay, now where does it go Okay, so I'm going to change courses real quick because this is not going to, well, I can't do that either. Never mind. Stop. Okay, I can't do this because I'll violate confidentiality if I do what I was thinking. So I apologize. So when they turn in an assignment, it goes to grades. So even if you have hidden it, you can select grades right here. And what will happen in just a second here is all of your students will show up in a list. Now, when the students go there, they only see their own work. Oh, sure. So I would see all of my students listed here. And then under the assignment, so for instance, this new puppy, if Allison had turned it in, I would see a little paper icon telling me she had turned it in. So then I can click on that and it will take me to SpeedGrader. And from SpeedGrader, I can go and grade her assignment and post her grade. And I didn't set it up to give you all a great demonstration of that, so I apologize. But so you get an icon. If it's self-grading, it'll just post what the grade was. So if you created a 10-question quiz and you already put the answers in, it'll just say 8 or 80 or however you've set it up. But if it's something you need to look at, then you can click, and I usually click on the first student. There's an arrow right here, and then over here on the right, it'll say go to SpeedGrader. Once you get to SpeedGrader, you can see their work. It shows up right away. You can make comments, give them a grade, and then there's a drop-down arrow, and you can go to the next student. So you never have to leave SpeedGrader, and you can go student A, student B, student C, student D, grade, 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 grade. And if there's no little icon there, then they have not turned in their work.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm sorry I don't have a greater model. I do, but I can't show it to you because of confidentiality things. So, okay.
Can I ask a quick question? So you know
Sure.
where we have the modules and then we have everything listed underneath it, like the assignments? That's not what the kids see, is it? Because that just seems like it'd be so overwhelming for the little kid.
It is what they see, but once they get to the first page, they never have to go back to that modules view. They just click next.
Can they
Okay.
just link to that first page? I mean, can you link it to the first page so they don't ever have to see that, or?
I'm not sure with the new version of Canvas. With the old version of Canvas, no, they had to see it. And that's another reason to unpublish your modules when you're done with them. There's several reasons, but that's another reason, so that they're only looking at most at 1 week's worth of work at a time, instead of looking at the entire school year. You know, or if you're doing it daily, they only see 1 day's worth of work. And keep in mind, if you say daily, if you're on a 185-day contract, you are talking about creating 185 modules. That is a lot. Okay, so really think about that daily idea, because that could be overwhelming for you as a teacher. The weekly seems to work a little bit better, and the kids really do adjust. It might seem a lot to them at first, but especially if you do a good job of explaining, this is everything we're going to do today. We're going to do it in order. We're going to start with page 1. I think they'll adjust to it pretty quickly.
And then I had one other question for like assignments. So if you want to like embed a math worksheet, there's no way for them to do it on there, is there?
So,
I mean, or even dragging stuff, more
so-
interactive for little kids. What's the best way to?
So my teachers build a lot of that in PowerPoint, so that it makes it interactive within PowerPoint, and they can grade it that way. Cloud assignments just became available in Canvas, and I haven't played with it a lot yet, but you can do and I know this works in Google as well. It's just I'm used to it from the Microsoft perspective, but I could put in a Word document and the student can open the Word document or fill it in and then submit it. Or I could do it as a collaboration assignment. And if I do it that way, then they open it, they see the page, they enter their work and submit, and it looks like nothing happened, like they didn't do their work because it goes back to being blank. But in grades, you see their work. It appears there. So you can, but it just erases so the next child can do their work. Okay. I also have directions I can put up on how to make an interactive worksheet using PowerPoint. And I know I saw, oh gosh.
I know you can do that on Google Slides. Like
Right, right.
And
And I think that's a teacher pay teacher or something. And I actually took the Google Slides one and converted it into PowerPoint directions. So I can post those for the Microsoft Peaks out there. But it does exist out there for Google as well. So there's also under settings, that apps, there are hundreds of apps that work with Canvas. The ones that's listed under settings apps are the ones who've partnered with Canvas specifically. That doesn't mean you can't use the others. So we like Padlet really well. We like Flipgrid really well. Khan Academy works really well. A lot of the stuff we can bring in from Safari Montage works really well. So there's a lot of options out there. It's just a matter of looking and playing with what you normally work with and see if it will work or not. Okay. I know that's not a great answer, but off the top of my head, interactive is the key to this, especially for the little ones. If you don't keep them active and involved, they're going to be gone. So absolutely.
That's what I think so
Yeah.
hard with making it interactive for little kids.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hi. You
this is
can.
Brittany.
Oh, hi. Hang on just a second, Brittany. So the other thing you can do is build quizzes, and even though it's called a quiz, you can just make it into an assignment. And quizzes, you can build hotspot questions, which allows them to just click on a picture and do different things like that, which helps a little bit with the interactivity too. So
I just wanted to comment on that. I put a link. My whole district is using Kami this year.
Okay.
And the students can go on, and there's a way to embed it into your Canvas, and they can draw, they can work math problems, they can write. And I put the link in the group chat that I found on Kami.
Awesome.
Show you how to integrate it into Canvas. But it will also, you can grade on it, you can comment, you can record your voice on your student stuff. They can record the voice, you can even embed a video.
Great. And you can also, for other types of assignments, you can do that through SpeedGrader as well. You can record your voice, you can put comments. If it's a document, you can annotate it within SpeedGrader. So if you want to circle a certain place or anything like that, SpeedGrader has tools to do all of that as you're grading directly on the computer. They also have a great app you can put if you are an iPad user. I don't know if it's available on Android, but on iPad you can go to SpeedGrader and grade directly on your iPad, and it works really well. So yeah, go ahead.
Hey, I just wanted to bring up one thing too about feedback, giving feedback to our students when we're grading. The notifications for them, I've heard we can't control that. So if we're grading at midnight, they're going to get a notification on their phone or whatever. So we just need to be a little bit mindful of that when we're doing giving grades and giving feedback to our students.
That's a good point. And now in the global navigation at the top is everyone's personal account, and the kids can choose whether they're going to receive notifications of that or not. So, you know, honestly, with these younger ones, one of the things I would tell parents is take their phones away. I mean, that's just good practice, period. When they go to bed, their phone should be charging in the kitchen or something. It should never be in their room. But that's the internet safety queen in me screaming, don't do that. And again, their parents may get the notifications anyway, depending on how their parents have set up theirs. So that's a good thing to be aware of. Boom cards, Nearpod, and Pear Deck. Some of those are Google specific, and so, Pear Deck I think specifically is, so I don't really know about that one. I believe Nearpod does work. We don't use it, but I've heard a lot about Nearpod, so I believe it does work. And Boom cards, I don't know anything about. Should I select the record button at the bottom of the screen? Oh, okay, Kathleen, I think we got your question. Okay, so modules, would I make it for a day, week, or subject? You know, if I am live in the classroom and I'm only using it as centers, I would do it by the day or by the subject. If I am completely remote and I'm primary, I would probably do it by the week, but you have to play with it and see what works best. If I am intermediate and I'm self-contained, I would do it by the week. If I'm intermediate and I am not self-contained, so I teach all the science and social studies and my partner does all the language arts and math or whatever, then I would do it by subject. The other thing in our district this year, we sync our grades to our student information system. So that if we grade in Canvas, it automatically sends their grades to our real grade book. We have that enabled 4th grade through 12th. So because of that, 4th, 5th, and 6th get separate subjects for everything by default. That's what the district pushes out. But it's because of that grade sync piece. Okay, does anybody, go ahead, I heard a question.
Yeah, prior to using Canvas, our school district was using Microsoft Teams, and it was required for us to do a question for us to keep attendance. How does that work for Canvas?
So we use Teams, but we don't have it enabled for students. In Canvas, what most of my teachers did is if they had like their first sheet for each day was like a form, like a Microsoft form, and the kids would have to go in and answer that question or whatever, and it would send it to an Excel spreadsheet that would enable them to keep attendance. Okay. Canvas does keep statistics on how often someone has logged in, how much time they've spent in the class. The problem with it, you can see how many times a certain page has been viewed. It's got lots of analytics that you can see. But what it doesn't do, if they stay logged in and walk away, you don't know that. So one of my teachers this past summer, it was a 6-week course, and it said she spent 300 hours in the class. I am really sure she did not. I'm thinking what she did is she just walked away and forgot to log off. Okay. Okay, Seesaw with Canvas. Last spring, they were using Seesaw instead of Canvas in some of our primary grades. And we got a ton of public feedback that they did not like that because we had too many platforms and too many things for parents to adjust to. So now we are stabilizing on Canvas only. My view is Seesaw is Canvas. It's just a simpler version for primary. So to use it with Canvas is kind of redundant because they both do the same thing. Badges. So you have to set up a separate account through Badger, and you have to create your badges. They give you a platform, but you can create them anywhere. You can create them in PowerPoint or whatever, and upload them, assign them a title, and then you link your Badger account into your Canvas course, and you can award badges based on whatever criteria you select. So that's the quick version. If you actually want to do badges, there is a lot of help out there, and but definitely the kids like that because it's a big they get those in their games, they get badges, and they like to display them on social media and print them out, put them on their backpacks and all kinds of stuff. So it is another way of motivating them to finish, to tell them that they're going to get a badge. Again, probably not a beginner thing, but yes, definitely something to think about. Unsplash is pictures, yes, and they are copyright free.
I'm sorry. This is Tanya Avery. I'm full of questions. I apologize. I hope this is helping somebody else too. But I had read earlier that our modules is actually our lesson plans. That's like where our lesson plans need to be, and that's where we need to put everything. But I'm still kind of up in the air about how to really get that, if I should do it weekly, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and all of that. But I'm still really confused about that. And also someone has asked several times, I don't know if you can, in the chat about putting the student view up to see what that looks like.
Okay, so if your district is requiring you to put lesson plans in modules, then by all means do that. But modules is for the kids. It is not for administrative background stuff. So a traditional lesson plan where you put your standards and everything like that, and you're writing it out for a sub or whatever, you could put it in modules. I don't know why you would. How I would view it is that actual instruction that you've written in that little box on your lesson plan, that's where it's actually playing out, is in that module. So it's like you're standing in front of your kids teaching. It's not that written lesson plan. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I would view it, because administration can view what you're doing in Canvas, but really the intent is for it to be used with the kids. Okay, so I'm going to hop over here because I saw a couple of questions. Somebody wanted me to show setting up an assignment from the word go. So we're going to do that, and then I will show you student view. Okay, so I'm going back to my regular course. And I know some of you did not plan on being on here this long, so you will not hurt my feelings at all if you need to go. I also know some of you are probably way overwhelmed. So just know we're recording. And if you need to leave and just give yourself a break, please feel free. And then the recording will be available for you later. So, okay. So setting up an assignment from the word go. I start from modules. Okay, so again, I'm going to click plus. So on my module header, and I apologize, I've got Zoom things popping up in front of me. Okay, so on my module header, I'm going to click plus, and then I'm going to add an assignment, which is by default at the first thing I see. If it's an assignment I've already made, all I have to do is click on it. Okay, so if it's the new puppy, I just click on it, I add it, and there's the new puppy assignment, complete and ready to go. Okay, if I haven't made it yet, then I click on the plus, I say new assignment, and I give it a title, and I add it. It always goes to the bottom of the module. I can reorganize any of this just by clicking on the dots and dragging it wherever I want it to appear. So if I get it in the wrong module, I can just drag it into the right module. I don't have to delete it and re-add it, okay? I'm gonna open assignment demo and select edit. Okay, so you probably heard me say this 1,000 times, and I'm going to say it again anyway. Directions are so important, especially if you are remote or you're doing this online. They are probably twice as important as they are in your classroom. You have to be explicit, you have to be direct, and if it's so much as tell them to press enter, you need to do that. Because especially at first, they are not going to be comfortable. So be as direct and explicit as you can with your instructions. So for my assignment, I'm going to explain the assignment here. And if I want them to read a passage, I can put the passage here. If I want them to watch a video, I can put the video here. So you can put as much information as you want them to do. And again, you have your links just like you always have. So you can add that video or that document right up here. Okay, if they need to download the document you loaded, in your directions you say download this document. So explain your assignment. This is also where my teachers put the video of how to turn in the assignment. They put it towards the end of this box so that the kids who need to can click on it and watch it. So anything that they need to know about this assignment, you put in here, and it can be as lengthy as you need it to be. Points, so points is basically the grade. So if you are grading on a 100-point scale, and it's worth 100 points, you would put in 100, okay? You can choose to display the grade as a percentage, or as complete, incomplete, or as points, or as a letter grade, or as a GPA scale, or as not graded. So if it's just, I need them to fill out a form and return it to me so I know how to plan the field trip, that's going to be not graded. Because I'm going to put it in as an assignment so I can keep track of who did it, but it's not going to be graded. If I just need them to read a page, but I want to make sure they read it, I'm going to put it in as a 5-point assignment and say, yeah, complete or incomplete. Okay, totally up to you. You can play with this as much as you want. You can also put assignments in groups. Those do have to be set up. In the course I just taught, we had discussions, assignments, and quizzes. So we had 3 assignment groups. So if I was assigning a discussion, then I would put it in the discussion here as the assignment group. Submission type, how are they going to submit? So again, use the drop-down arrow. If you select online, then you have to choose, and you can choose all or as many of these or as few of these as you want. So if I want them to upload a picture, I'm going to do a file upload. So maybe you told them that you want them to go find 3 things that are purple and take a picture, then they're going to file upload that picture of 3 things that are purple. Okay, text entry means they will get a box. So when they click submit assignment, they will have a little box where they can enter their answers. So you may say, read this story problem, and then in the text entry, give me the answer and tell me how you solved it. And that may be your entire assignment. If you want them to give you a website URL, so they had to go to a website and do something and send it back to you, probably not as common with elementary as it is with secondary. You can do that. And then a media recording, if you want them to actually record a video of themselves or an audio file of themselves. Lots of my music teachers are doing this right now. You would select media recording. Okay. How many attempts are you going to allow? This is actually new. It used to be unlimited. Now you can limit it. So you can say they get 1 attempt, or maybe you're going to give them a couple of tries. That's fine. You can set that if you want to. Those combined classrooms, this is, or if you have special needs kids and you're going to give 1 assignment to your regular classroom kids and 1 assignment to your special needs, you would put them into groups, and then you would tell which groups they are part of and assign them to that group. Peer review means the kids are going to grade each other's work. And then here, who are you assigning it to? So if I'm only assigning it to, if I'm assigning it to everyone in this course, it's defaults to everyone. If I'm only assigning it to my 2nd graders in my combined course, then that would be one of those here, and I would say 2nd grade. Okay. And I really strongly recommend putting a due date, and I'll show you why in just a second. Even if it's not a true due date, it's just kind of a guideline due date, set that because it will go on the Canvas calendar. And then you save and publish your assignment. And I need to uncheck this. Okay, because I don't have any groups set up yet. Okay, that is just bizarre. It's their new stuff. Okay, so there's my assignment that I just created. And it's going to appear in my modules. And the only other thing I need to do, so it's the assignment demo right here, and I published it. So it is ready to go so that people can do it. Okay, now over here on the calendar in my global navigation, when I click on that, and remember I set that assignment for August 4th. So here's my calendar, and I have to select over here under calendars, I have to select the course. So I'll just go backwards and show you my previous course. So every assignment that I put in for the course I just finished is here. And they can click on these links and it will take them directly to the module they're working on or to the assignment that is due that day. If the kids have more than one class, they can select more than one class to be visible at the same time, and they will be in different colors. So it's a very helpful thing to do. The other thing that is great about that is on their homepage, they will get a to-do list of items that tells them, hey, this is doing your math class, this is doing your science class, and this is coming up. And it shows up on their homepage for the kids. Okay, one last thing, and then I've really got to go. You wanted to see student view. So from the dashboard, over here, here's my to-do list. See that? Okay. I'm going to pick a course. Go to settings. And over here on the right, the top one is student view. When I select that, it gives me, it should, when it's ready, it gives me a pink bar at the bottom that tells me, hey, you're in student view. I may not have this course published. Let's go find out. Oh, nope, it's published. Okay, so on my homepage, I also have student view from the homepage, so I don't even have to go to settings. I can click on student view and it should show me, there's my pink bar at the bottom. It tells me I'm in student view. So now I don't see all of those eyeballs. I only see the links on the navigation that are available to the kids. And what I see is what they see. Okay, so if I come to modules, notice the announcements at the top right there. Here's their modules. And down here, see it says complete all items. That's because that's the prerequisite we set. And the ones that I said mark as done, they have to view that page. And then once it's viewed, they have to click on it. And then once they have clicked on it and looked at it, and if I go back to modules and scroll down, and now it's got a check mark because I actually did it. So the kids know, they didn't even have to check on it. They just knew they had to look at it. And the circle was an indicator. Okay, and I'm going to come back here to home just for a second so you can see the announcements one more time. So on the home page, the announcements are up here at the top. They also have a link over here to the course calendar, so which will take them to the same places that we would go to on the left. Okay. All right. So any final questions before we call this a night? Okay, I hope this helped. I was trying to give you the basics to help you get started. Again, this is a huge beast. There is so many moving parts to this, so many different things you can do. Start with the simple stuff. Build a module, put some pages, maybe some assignments in it. Maybe build a simple homepage and publish it. Okay, that will get you started. You can change your mind at any point. You can add additional elements, take away elements. Nothing is set in stone. You are in charge. You're in the driver's seat as to what your kids can and can't do. So if you do something and doesn't work out, it's causing a problem in your class, you can take that privilege away. Okay?
One last question before you leave. I know you got to go. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Suggest, because what I was thinking is I should actually create my lessons or lesson plans or whatever in Google Drive and then incorporate them, because I've heard that once you get a whole bunch of lessons going on, that it's kind of hard to go back, and it doesn't really, like Canvas doesn't really organize it like I would prefer it to be. Like, and so when I go back to my Google Drive, I can go to guidebooks, Unit 1, Lesson 1, because do you understand what I'm saying? I hope I'm making sense, but.
So Canvas organizes it the way you want to organize it, okay? But if you already have it, so in your Google Drive, you can create a link to your Google Drive if you've got it shared out to your students. I normally don't like to give the kids that much access to my drive, so I don't do that. But you can, or you can import in the order you've got it in Google Drive, you can import it into Canvas that way.
Right, that's what I'm saying, is import it from Google Drive into there. That way I can just kind of keep it together. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I don't know, maybe I'm confusing myself.
Okay, I honestly, I put it in the way I want the kids to see it, the way I would teach it. Okay, that's how I organize my modules. So if I want them to watch a video, read this page, now do this assignment, that's the order I put it in.
Right, yeah, I get that part, but I'm just saying, where are you keeping like your weeklies, your units, that kind of information, because.
So if I taught, I did teach 4th grade. I didn't use Canvas at the time, but I did teach 4th grade. If I would probably either just create a module for each unit, which you could do. Okay. So, or you could have a course for each subject, and then inside each course have a module for each unit.
Right, but then I would have to get different buttons to go to, instead of using one button to go to all of them. I don't know.
Right, yeah. Canvas does not require buttons either. That is totally a personal choice. You do not have to use buttons in Canvas.
I just like the aesthetics of it, I think. I don't really, I have a Bitmoji classroom, but I'm thinking like another lady we were talking a while ago, we're like, look, I think the Bitmoji thing is going away. And I think we're just going to do simple, aesthetic buttons or something for them to just easily get to where we're wanting them to go. But anyway, I know you've got to go. Thank you so much for your time, Miss Diane. And I hope, just pray for us.
Oh, I am. We are all in this together. Okay. So I will try to capture any questions posted in the chat I did not get to and post those in the Facebook group. And thank you all so much for inviting me. I honestly didn't expect my one simple little post to get that much attention. But thank you so much. And I will post up here for just a second my contact information, so that if you have additional questions, I'm not really doing friend requests, but I am doing instant messaging with anybody who wants. So, and only because my Facebook is private and and I don't allow a lot of friends in anyway, unless I really, really know them. So, but I will answer instant messaging. And I don't do a lot of Twitter, but I do have a Twitter account, and I can make an effort to look at that more often. And then I put an email address in here. I go back on contract on Friday. So from that standpoint, my time will be limited once I'm back on contract. But here is my contact information. I am in Wyoming, so if there's more than one Diane Edgar, I know that there is a nudist colony camp owner with the same name in back east somewhere. That's not me. Just pointing that out, that is not me. So, okay, y'all have a great night.